All right, thanks for joining me on VOP News Update. I'm Moses Humphrey. 30 inmates of correctional centers in Lagos have regained their freedom. They were granted freedom by the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Kazeem Alogba. The 30 were part of 40 persons that were recommended for amnesty. The inmates were pardoned at an open court session presided over by the Chief Judge at the premises of Ikeja Magistrate Court in Ogba. Now, those granted freedom include 4 juveniles who were from a foster home, Boston Training Institution, Adigbe in Abeokuta. Others were released from Ikoyi and Kirikiri correctional centers. Some of the inmates had been in the correctional facilities since 2013 before they were granted freedom. It's reported that the Chief Judge ordered that 6 of the inmates be returned to prison, while the remaining 4 names had errors. Nigerian Senate has confirmed the nomination of service chiefs and heads of security agencies newly appointed by President Bola Tinubu. This followed the screening of the military top brass by the upper chamber. Senate President Godswill Akpabio said during the closed-door session, the service chiefs answered questions on defense-related matters and topical issues. The Senate, upon resumption of plenary yesterday, stated that started a screening of the service chiefs, which with each of them mounting the podium to speak on how they will tackle insecurity in the country if confirmed. President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria. The presidential spokesman, Dede Alake, disclosed this during a briefing with journalists yesterday. Alake said President Tinubu is not unmindful of the rising cost of food and its effect on the pockets of Nigerians. According to him, Tinubu has directed that all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as essential livelihood items be included within the purview of the National Security Council. He noted that the directive was in line with the Tinubu administration's position on ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported. The Department of State Services (DSS) has charged the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Godwin Emefiele, to court. This was in compliance with an Abuja High Court order dated 13th July 2023. The DSS spokesman, Peter Afunaya, who disclosed this in a statement on Thursday, recall that the service had in 2022 applied for a court order to detain him in respect of a criminal investigation. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has arrested 13 Chinese nationals for allegedly engaging in illegal mining activities in Ilorin, Kwara State of Nigeria. The anti-graft agency disclosed this in a statement on Thursday by its head of media and publicity, Wilson Wujaren. According to Wujaren, the 12 male and 1 female suspects were arrested on July 12 at the government's reserved area, GRA, Ilorin. The arrest followed credible intelligence about their activities, which included, but not limited to, illegal mining and non-payment of royalties to the federal government, as required by law. Also, prior to their arrest, discreet investigation on the activities of illegal mining operators in Kwara State revealed that the operators have different illegal mining sites in almost all the 16 local government areas of the state. The suspects will be arraigned upon the conclusion of investigation, which had already begun. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has assured pilgrims and their relatives that the indefinite suspension of MAX Air operations will not affect the ongoing airlifting exercise from Saudi Arabia to Nigeria. In a statement yesterday, Musa Ubandawaki, Deputy Director of Information and Publication, said the suspension affects only MAX Air domestic operations. Well, MAX Air is among the approved airlines by the federal government to airlift over 16,000 pilgrims. to and from Saudi Arabia for the 2023 Hajj exercise. He said the commission will continue to use the slots made available to them by the Saudi Aviation Authority to return Nigerian pilgrims home. He commended Nigerians and pilgrims for their patience and assured that the commission will ensure all pilgrims are airlifted home soon. In business, the National Bureau of Statistics Capital Importation Report for 2023 first quarter has shown that foreign investment to the manufacturing sector dropped by 35% from $392.5 million in the fourth quarter of 2022 to $256 million in the first quarter of 2022. According to the report, the total capital importation into Nigeria in the first quarter of 2023 stood at $1.1 billion, lower than $1.5 billion US dollars recorded in the first quarter of 2022, indicating a decrease of 28%. Despite the decrease, capital importation into the production sector ranked second with 22% share of total investments, while the banking sector recorded the highest inflow of $304.5 million, representing 26.89% of total capital imported in the first quarter of 2023. In recent months, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria had warned that the increasingly harsh business environment occasioned by high energy costs, lack of access to funding, multiple taxation, among others, had scaled down investment into the sector. In foreign news, hospital doctors in England have staged the biggest walkout in the history of the UK's state-funded National Health Service. The unprecedented 5-day stoppage over pay and staff retention has prompted fears for patient safety. It is the latest in 8 months of industrial action across the NHS, which is already reeling from a vast pandemic backlog. Meanwhile, nurses, ambulance staff, and other medical workers have all joined picket lines in recent months, adding to the pressure on patient appointments. Now, this comes against a background of walkouts across the economy from train drivers to lawyers over the past year as the UK battles a crippling cost of living crisis. And that's the news update on VOP TV. We'd like you to subscribe and engage with us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, it is VOP TV Live. I'm Moses Humphrey. Good morning.